So yeah, um, happy Tuesday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang, and I am in the early AM hours. You know, for me, still in Jaipur, 200 miles west of Delhi. Hmm. So, wow. So today, I was thinking that let's talk about one of the concepts that um, Guru Maharaj talked about in context of satsang, which he documented and and basically, one of the core concepts around satsang. So one, if you embody the transcendental energy, you not only become very powerful, you actually uh, get closer and closer to what in general would be referred to as um, you know a real um, a guru who you know embodies the transcendental energy to be at ocean of peace. So embodying this transcendental energy is like you kind of get closer and closer to what is referred to as God. So one of his principles was that, you know, God is the supreme power, and that's the transcendental energy. And there is not necessarily any name or form of that energy or for God. So you may choose any name that you like. So one religion refers to God in one way, another one in another way. So basically, this teaching shifts our focus from division to unity. Instead of debating whether one name is superior, uh, you know, you are invited to rise above the names and forms to connect directly with the higher power. So basically, the goal is not to defend a label, but to experience and embody this power. The essence of spirituality is not comparison, but self realization. So, one of the examples he used to give was that think of a person and say if this person has family. So to one, he is a father, to another, maybe a husband, to another, a son, uncle, brother. So now different references, so different names, different relationships, but the same person. So no one argues about who he really is. So why then you know, when people refer to God differently, it's in the similar lines. So conflict arises only when we are not. So basically, another you know tenet of this concept is that once you're self-realized, once you really get to that point, then all these conflicts anyway dissolve away. So if our goal is peace, personal peace, family peace, peace in our communities, peace in our world, then we must move past ignorance and, you know, focus on self-realization. So knowing God not merely as a concept, but as a living presence in our hearts. So once we, connect with this presence, with this transcendental energy, all the divisions fall away. So if our, you know, um, if our goal is peace for ourselves, our families, our communities, then, you know, we must move past this conflict and, and, you know, name doesn't matter. It's the, um, so basically different faiths, but one source, different names, but again, one reality, different paths, one destination, and hence the religion would no longer, you know, so, you know, uh, another thing that I always, so I've always, focused more on spirituality rather than religion. And one of the things that I always think about is that this world has seen more wars because of religion rather than, you know, uh, driven ourselves to peace. So spirituality from that angle also makes a lot of sense to me. So if we truly wish to be in peace in this fractured world, we must start by understanding the essence of God, not through, you know, what we have heard, but through the realization. And that realization can come through, a path like Satsang, where we embody this transcendental energy, get to this presence, which then leads to harmony. So, anyway, wanted to just start with this and talk more about it after meditation. Let's get into it. So, eyes lightly closed, still in relaxed posture, and think of this presence of this transcendental energy in form of light. And this light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are getting completely and totally immersed in it. So, eyes lightly closed, still and relaxed posture. And then, because we want to be inward focused, these things help. And then we concentrate on this one concept. So from multitude of thoughts come to this one thought and one thought alone, that this transcendental energy in form of light is right here, right now. And this light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body. And then we're, becoming one with this light. So we are becoming the light. Mind wanders away, which it will. Just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. So we'll start with music that helps concentration, and then the music fades away and we go deep into the silent meditation. we'll transition out with music again. Let's start now. So happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm glad that we are here in Satsang. Um, so yes, my India trip continues. So next Saturday, I think it will be the my niece's wedding is on 23rd, so 22nd will be the prior evening um, here. So Saturday morning in US. So, but I plan to join. I'll continue the workshops. So, any other thoughts, comments before we wrap up?
Hello, Sanjivji.
Hello, Christy. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay, thank you. It's quite late here in London, but because I missed Saturday, I just wanted to join today.
Now,
How's your
yeah,
trip doing? Oh, sorry.
so yeah, it's 6 a.m. here.
Oh,
So now,
wow. So it's nearly, I think it's 12:40 here in the evening.
yeah,
Are you well?
yeah, doing well.
Good. The
Y-
topic
y-
today, I was listening on YouTube and then I thought I'll come and join. The topic of religion has been a really difficult one for me growing up. I struggled with growing up Greek Orthodox, and when I was 14, I actually spoke to my mother and said to her, I don't feel connected to this as a spiritual experience. It feels more like a structured, it's very controversial to speak about, but I'm going to be honest here. It felt like a very structured religion that was very based on just money for the church. And when we really needed help, I needed an emergency surgery, and we went to them for some help and they refused it. So it kind of just made me realize that I wanted to explore spirituality rather than a religion. And my journey started from there, and it's been a long one, but the I feel like it has just clicked since I've joined Satsang. This year has been uh, incredible. And I saw the article you made on Substack. Thank you very much. And I'm just happy that you shared it, and I hope that it gives people hope because the connecting to the divine light is um it's wonderful. And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Actually, I mean, I kind of mentioned before that. I'll share that. Um, the other thing is like I have had probably at least one that I can think of, like instance where um, just the presence, just the uh, when you take your focus away from the problem to you know the process of satsang, your focus shifts, and so I have tried this myself, and uh, you know, um, so I can relate firsthand with it as well.
Thank
So
you for sharing. Thank you. Um, but you were speaking about peace and how really everyone is, we're calling them God, Allah, all of the different names, but it really is just simple. It's the divine energy. And like you said, it doesn't matter what name we call it. And it's so sad that most wars are started because of religion and money. So
Yeah, even it's not ancient times, even today, right?
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's very, very, I mean, it's very unsettling at so many levels that we continue to fight for something that, till self-realization, we don't even know what we're talking about,
No,
right? And we fight for it. So it's just that's how things are.
I know everything's so divided right now, and you just so desperately want to scream at everyone and say it's just so simple. We don't need to fight. We don't need war. Just connect to one another, have compassion, and just go back to the basics. But it's just not going to happen. So I feel like it's down to all of us as communities to spread that peace and light amongst us so that we can have that at least.
Actually, one of my friends, I think I'll try to bring him on one day to our sessions. Um, he wrote a book on almost like a parental guide to parents who have physically disabled child. I mean, it's very, very difficult, uh, to be in that situation. And so he wrote a book. There was a um, India Inclusion Summit where he presented, and interestingly, the book's title was suggested by me. It's called Brave, and it's like each word BRAVE actually um, uh, you know uh, is it means something in the strategy that he is talking about in the book.
That's a great
So
name. I do love that title.
yeah, and yeah, I'll probably post something on Substack on that. So he forwarded the Dalai Lama's message to this India Inclusion Summit, and I'll just share here that. So the message says that I'm pleased to learn that India Inclusion Summit is being organized as part of the efforts to raise awareness about people with disabilities and the importance of their inclusion in the mainstream society. Dedicating oneself to the service of others is indeed the truest expression of kindness and compassion. And I think, Christy, you were talking about something which kind of just reminded me of this. And so it, it goes on that at the most fundamental level, all human beings are the same. Profound.
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh, Whether rich, poor, tall, short, dark, or fair, with or without disabilities, we all share the same potential for greatness, the same right to realize it. Therefore, there is no justification for discriminating against any individual based on physical or mental conditions. From my own experience, I have found that the greatest degree of inner peace arises from the cultivation of love and compassion. I urge everyone to nurture a compassionate heart towards their fellow human beings. Such a mind is like a seed. When cultivated, it gives rise to many other noble qualities like forgiveness, tolerance, inner strength, and the confidence to overcome fear and insecurity. Compassion is like an elixir. It has the power to transform even adverse situations into opportunities for growth and benefit. True compassion, however, should not be confined to our family and friends alone. It is not merely an emotional response, but a firm commitment grounded in reason. A genuinely compassionate attitude does not waver according to the circumstances or condition of others. It is important to recognize your own capacity to support and empower people with disabilities and uphold their rights as equal to those of any other individual. By contributing to their empowerment, you are in fact guiding our human family toward greater peace, justice, and dignity. This is altruism in action and a profound form of spiritual practice. So it goes on, but it's just, you know, I thought that was a great note.
That's beautiful, and that really kind of that touched me actually. That touched my heart because I have physical disabilities as well, and I used to care for my mum who was very disabled, and the discrimination that we've both experienced over the time has been unbelievable, and it has been very hard to have like equal rights and just to be seen and respected. So I've been speaking out on carers' rights and for disabled people so that they don't need advocates. They should be allowed to speak for themselves and
Yeah.
have the respect. So it's something that I'm really passionate about. And compassion is something that I really want people to be more aware of. So yeah, that's definitely something that's made me emotional, actually. Really
No,
has.
very, very, yeah, very touching note, definitely.
Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. All right. So yeah, all here's Steve.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Oh, how are
So
you?
I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
Doing well, doing well. And I think I wanted to say it earlier that uh, you know, uh, being in India always reminds me of the statement that I make that while back in US, the entire year, the number of people I meet in the first week when I'm in India, or probably sometimes in first few days. And this time it's actually slightly different. So it's not only satsang events, two weddings in one trip. So that's like crazy.
Yeah, I think you've got a lot going on.
True, 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 true.
What you said tonight, it immediately made me think of Gandhi with regards to self-actualization and I remember reading or hearing him say that there's many paths to God and that
Hmm.
all religions, it's kind of like the Muhammad Ali thing. It's whether you call it a river or a lake or whatever, it's still water, right? So it's
True.
at the heart of it, it's all very similar. And so then it made me think about people who have would be categorized based. I always think Abraham Maslow when I think of self-actualized. When you think about, I tried to think of people that would be self-actualized. So I went to Chat GPT and it gave me a long list of people: Dr. Martin Luther King,
Mm.
Albert Einstein, Viktor Frankl, Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama. And then I, I asked Chat GPT to talk about what the characteristics are of people that are self-actualized. And it created an interesting list. It said they behave authentically and consistently. They have a strong sense of purpose. They
Hmm.
demonstrate compassion without dependence. They're comfortable with solitude. Um, they show creative, flexible thinking. They perceive reality with clarity, and they experience peak experiences. So just those moments every I think it's wonderful to just have those moments every day where you're just at peace, or when we have these meetings, I think it always gets me to that place where I just feel good, even if it's for a few moments. So I just want to thank you for that, because I would
See,
echo her.
yeah, it's you know, interesting. Like in India, the amount of um, ancient writings about this topic are like so broad and deep. Um, I mean, in a way, the more you know, again, I mean, in my own way, I kind of think that, say, U.S. being a capitalist country, if you look around Wall Street, there are all those nuances. There are like mortgage-based securities, this security, that security. There are all these other instruments, and there are so many concepts and instruments and ways in which you can execute and all that fun stuff. I think the same way spirituality was treated in India in the ancient times. There were so many nuances to very, like simple concepts described in 12 different ways. Um, and sometimes I feel like the English language um, doesn't have enough of those nuances that Sanskrit, has, like, because they kind of researched it from so many different angles. Um, and there are like, so it may not be mainstream for whatever reason, but the research that went in, so, uh, you know, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, all these things that evolved from, uh, e- e- so like basically, even so when I visit India, like sometimes different parts of the country have not just different language, but very different spiritual concepts, books, etc. And it's just, you know, I mean, you don't have to believe all of that. It's just the amount of documentation, experimentation, um, and it's like the society um, has been affected in so many different ways by that concept. Like, for example, in the Jainism, um, you don't eat this, you don't do this, you don't. It's like, think of, like taking certain concepts like you should not be like hurting other creatures and animals, etc., went to a level where they don't even want to wear um, like shoes because it will crush the what you the where you're walking, you're actually crushing some you know creatures, animals, life. And based on that, they were like, oh, after sundown, don't, you know, eat because blah, blah, blah. So all I'm saying is like, we don't have to believe in all of that, but just the thought processes, the research, the implementation around that, phenomenal. You know, and it's like the coexistence of all those concepts within a region, without I mean, I wouldn't say it's without conflict. Like conflict is everywhere, but it's just so when you talked about the list, so what happened was 2015, like my mother passed away, and I was thinking about that list, and you know, so I would add simplicity to that. I would add service, very service oriented people. I mean, you talk all of the names there, right? They served, their purpose became service, essentially, right? And and in some ways, uh, each one of them would have their own nuance to service, in the sense that, you know, what Martin Luther King did would be very different from, you know, Einstein, for example, right? But they served humanity in their own way, and probably very authentic way, as your list talks about, right? Um, and evolved to that point where I'm serving at a higher level. Um, but simplicity is another thing that I feel is very core to self-actualization, because you know, what you're inside and outside becomes very aligned. Um, so you are authentic, but you also become, from that perspective, less complex a human being. And because of that, your, you know, environment or the way you live and all that, you know, the way you think and describe things, uh, like one of the things I always think about Guru Maharaj's books, colloquial language, very deep concepts, simplified to a point where it's like, oh, what? It's like, you know, the concept we were thinking, you know, talking about in this session is like, okay, so what is God? Just energy, power, and you embody that power, you become God. And that is not necessarily, you know, um, thought like that by, you know, many religions or ideologies, but it is like uh, what you think you become. So if your remembrance, your meditations, your um, whatever processes you follow to get to the higher ground, uh, you quote unquote become more godlike, and eventually at that self-actualization state, it's like you are, you know, so the more you embody the transcendental energy, the power to transform, so you have transformed yourself, and then your ability to transform others just uh, gets to the next level. But anyway, I think I'm going off on a tangent here.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, it's fascinating. I think what you you know, the list of just the things that um, self-actualized people have uh, can be can be guide like almost like a guidance to us. They're all these things like living on purpose. I mean, so when you think about that a little more, living on purpose means that you need to have clarity. And how do you have clarity is when you focus inwards, you concentrate, and you evolve your thought processes to be, less clouded by emotions, etc., and get to a higher level in terms of just you know. But anyway, it's so you need to go through a process to get to a higher ground to gain that clarity, and then your sense of purpose will become more clear, right? So at the end of the day, it's like you have to get out of the comfort zone and get to uh, a point where all this is not just talk, but some implementation there.
Yeah, it's always good to emulate those types of people if you can, or
Yeah,
be aware of their behavior. And they're all so intertwined, it seems, in terms of how they conducted themselves. Just the love for
it's
humanity.
fascinating. Yeah, fascinating. Absolutely. Yeah, their love for humanity, and it's just I mean, if we super simplify all this, is like when me becomes us and we, uh, it's a change, and hence like service can only come through when we are uh, you know it's it, somehow I don't know, but what I feel is that going to the higher ground, spiritually growing ourselves, is just to make us better um, in service of others. So I think all religions, in some way, shape, or form, actually wanted us to be serving the humanity better. That but somehow it doesn't get there. Yeah. But very interesting. You asked this of ChatGPT.
I just because it gives me
Yeah.
a broad sense of examples. There were some examples that came to mind right away. Well, someone like Mother Teresa or the Dalai Lama for sure would be there. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that aren't famous that are
Yeah.
able to find that level as well, just on a
See,
different
like
plane.
one of the things Guru Maharaj wrote in his, the big 7-volume book is like there were a lot of concepts I've written here which went uh, undocumented because this was more person to person process earlier. So what you're saying is like there were a lot of these self-actualized, um, people who, uh, just they lived that way, but didn't want to have you know, a YouTube channel of their own. So,
I was in Greece one time and went to Meteora where these ascetics would go up into these cliffs up in these very the landscape is just beautiful, and they would do it, I suppose, physically to be closer to God, and also just to remove themselves from the materialism of
Right.
society as a whole, so that they could have that calm and that stillness and that tranquility. And
So there was a concept of going to the Himalayas in India, right? It's
okay,
like literally, literally.
the roof
And
of the
and
world, yeah.
so there are a lot of common elements in uh, yeah, it's and Guru Maharaj writes that hey, you don't have to go to the Himalayas. You can achieve that in your whatever way you live your life. Um, that was his one of his other core tenets, that it's not for those people only who devote their lives to a monastery or a church or go to the Himalayas or go to one of those cliffs in Greece. It's for, so what about the normal people? There should be a process which is simpler, can be integrated into quote unquote normal life, um, and still effective enough or strong or powerful enough to be able to get to higher ground through that process. It's very, very interesting because both his guru and he himself, like, you know, family, kids, and interestingly, like, so eldest son was a doctor. He, you know, practiced, uh, you know, um, so I think he was in the one of the northern states in India, Uttar Pradesh. So he was part of the, local government, as so serving as the doctor within that framework, and served his term till retirement, but was deeply spiritual and used to travel for satsang and so on and so forth. So not only followed the principles himself, but shared it with tons of folks at the same time. So Christy, you
Thank you.
wanted,
Hi,
yeah.
sorry. I was just going to ask, is there anywhere we can read Guru Maharaj's books or papers or anything?
So to tell you the truth, like, so in Hindi, there is a monthly journal, there is all these books written. There have been numerous translations, but um, Hindi to English, somehow the readability, the flow, the strength of, because Sanskrit and Hindi have all these nuances that I was talking about, which are very related to some of the thought processes that have evolved in
Yeah.
India over ages. Very, very hard to translate to anything in English. So, so all the Substack, what actually I do is take one of the pieces and then run
Make it your
through
own.
kind of sort of.
Okay.
So I do have the 28 chapters. Um, uh, actually, eh, um, but what I'm doing is, and then just to make, because it was very colloquial and to relate with people, there were a lot of local stories or as Steve was talking about, like people who were known within that community. He would talk about those stories, relate like how these people, through very trying times, trying situations, achieved what they achieved, and all that. Which so it, to tell you the truth, like for last few years, I've been very focused on trying to see how the stories could be converted to some of the people that Steve mentioned. We could take some of their life stories and bring those concepts out in that context and so on and so forth. So yeah. um,
Also, it would also be nice to hear, like, if there's any stories from people in India who maybe have such little and were going through trying times, who got through that and were still doing acts of service. That would be so inspirational, I think.
so let me see if I can just pick. So he, so not only he wrote the 7 volume, 28 chapter book, he actually took some saints or accomplished, uh, you know, people who I would also call them like self-actualized, um, people who came from very, very, very diverse background. Let me see if I can pick up one of those stories and either write a Substack or share here. Um, so Steve, you're asking what BRAVE stands for. Let me see if I can very quickly pull up Substack. He also has a Substack. There it is. Okay.
I'd love to follow him actually and maybe connect with him as well.
Yeah, let me go here. Okay, so let me share.
Thank you, by the way.
Okay, so sure thing. Um, so I think one of the titles was like a long-winded title, Parents Playbook for Securing the Future of a Child with Disability. Let me see if I can increase this. Um, so so he talks about brave in this book. So he, I think, also describes this here. So B is for the barbell strategy, balancing safety with experimentation. Relationships, R is relationships that matter, building networks of love and trust. I love that because satsang is also about that. Uh, A is acts of good deeds, giving back to create an uh, ecosystem of kindness. Awesome. Um, V is view the long term, staying in the game for decades, not days. And E is establish redundancy, planning for life's unpredictability. And interestingly, so when he talked about at this summit about this book and some of his experiences, one comment that he got was that, this person who was dealing with, um, you know, child with disability, he never thought of establishing redundancy and planning for the unpredictability. So I, I am actually planning to see if I can jointly go with him and talk about some of these concepts in some interviews and things like that before I go back to US. Very unique work, I think, because
Important work, isn't it, Sanjeev?
say that again.
It's important work. It's like, and it goes hand in hand with Satsang and all of Guru Maharaj's writing. So it would be amazing if you and Parul could do a podcast with him.
Actually, yeah, we were talking about that. So at least bring this out. As Steve was asking, like, what's Braves, and so he has, I think, written chapters on each one of these, but we could bring some of that out. It's even like, and my view was that if we take some of these strategies and like lift, it applies to everyone,
It does.
right? It's like balancing, safety and experimentation, networking for a network of love and trust. I mean, who doesn't need that, right? Act of good deeds. I mean, I think in some ways what we're talking about today is like everybody should be doing that, all religious people included, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh, thank you for sharing this so much.
Yeah, I'll send out a link to this. I think another thing, like, so the book I'm writing, one of the volumes um, is inspired by this wellness for 100. So he says that, if you want to take care of uh, your child with disability, you should live a very, um, you know, try to be as healthy yourself as possible.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting. So yeah. All right. On that note, let's love, light, and peace be with you, and we'll connect back soon in Satsang.
Thank you. Love light to you and to everyone as well. It's midweek now in London, so happy midweek to everyone.
Yep.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Steve, Christy, Anita ji. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Nice to see you.
Namaste. Yeah. Bye.
Namaskar. All right. Renu ji.